Welcome back to another episode of Ion Motive. I'm going to make this intro super short because I've already edited the rest of the podcast, the rest of the video, and I realized I forgot to talk about this and I wanted to talk about this. So let's just get right into it. It'll make sense more later on. The year 2020 is finally coming to a close. This has definitely been probably the most interesting year I've ever been alive. The most interesting year for probably most of my listeners. It's been a very strange time, but it's finally coming to a close. And as a new year begins, you know what that means. New Year's resolutions. I won't lie, I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions. I'm a huge fan of setting goals for the new year. I have specific goals that I want to achieve, some things that I want to accomplish, but I don't like the idea of New Year's resolutions when it looks something that everybody's doing just because it feels good in the moment, because this person's talking about their goals and this person, and I don't like setting goals solely based off the feeling of motivation. It seems like to me a lot of the times New Year's resolutions are kind of arbitrary. It's just a thing that sounds like a good idea and you're willing to try out. For example, I think a lot of the times people say, oh, my goal is to work out, but they don't get specific. Working out is amazing, right? It's a great goal, but you need to create goals that are specific to you. So really think, get some alone time, find a goal that matters to you, whether it's improving your finances, whether it's improving your physical health, your mental health, your social health. It needs to be more of an individual thing that really matters rather than just like this group effort that everybody's talking about in the spur of the moment that feels great. When you create goals that matter to you, you're going to work much harder, you're going to be way more dedicated, and you're going to enjoy yourself along the way. That's really all I got for this extra intro. I apologize if you're watching on video and you notice a glare in my glasses. I didn't realize that was happening while I was recording the video, so I'll make sure to work on that. In case I wear my glasses again, I'll make sure that does not happen. But other than that, let's get right into this. Enjoy today's episode of Ion Motive. Welcome back to another episode of Ion Motive. This is episode number 13. I'm your host, Ian Kenrick. I took a little break to finish up school, finish up some exams and things like that, and I am so happy to be back. Happy to be doing this once again, and I'm happy that you're listening to this podcast today. As you might have noticed, if you've been a listener for a little while now, I changed the sound, the intro music. I actually just started using a website called Epidemic Sounds, and I'm not sponsored or anything, but it's a pretty sweet website. They've got a bunch of cool instrumental music. That's where I found this new intro music. So if you're into content creation or anything like that, it's definitely worth checking out. I'll have a referral code down in the show notes and in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this. Also, I've got a new microphone. If you're seeing this on YouTube, you might have noticed, or maybe you can just tell by the quality of the sound. I've been playing around with it for about a half hour or so, and it already sounds so much better than the last microphone I was using. I just got it today, and I'm super geeked about it, like a little kid running around Christmas morning. I'm super pumped. I'm just so excited to be getting back into this. I'm back home for winter break now. Just got a couple more exams over the next few days. But other than that, nothing is really going on. My plans for the break are to really work on this page, and hang out with some friends. That's really all I got going on. Nothing's new, but I'm excited for what's going to happen in the next month or so. My main goal really is to get out a lot of podcast episodes. I'm going to be trying to get back on that weekly schedule. I started getting into it once I got back to school, but then I kind of stopped once it started picking up a little bit more. But I'm going to try my absolute best to try to get an episode out every single Tuesday from here on out for a while. We'll see how it goes. I know this episode's out a little bit later, but that is my goal. But other than that, I've really got nothing new to say, so let's just get right back into the episode. Let's talk about the myth of motivation. So there's been many times in my life, and I know many times in other people's lives, where we get the feeling of super motivation, hyper motivation, that feeling that we're unstoppable, that we can do anything, that we will achieve all of our goals. It's one of the best feelings in the world, but the problem is that that feeling does not last, right? I'm embarrassed to say there's been probably a dozen times I've watched some Eric Thomas motivational speech, felt jacked up, felt like I could do anything, set my alarm to wake up super early the next morning, like 5:30, to go exercise. And when I wake up, I don't go exercise. I think maybe one of the times I ended up going, and it wasn't till 8:30 or 9 o'clock. 99% of the time, I just turned it off completely and went back to bed. Why do I say this? My point is, if we want to achieve our goals, achieve our biggest dreams and aspirations, we cannot rely on motivation alone. It's a great feeling, but it doesn't last. And I'm not bashing any motivational speakers. I probably watch motivational speeches every single day. I love Eric Thomas. I love Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all those guys. I use them constantly. But we have to understand the feeling they provide us is not enough to achieve our goal. And here's why. The feeling of motivation is often extrinsic. And when I mean the feeling of motivation, I mean like that hyped up feeling, right? It comes from something outside of us. It comes from watching a speech. It comes from watching a movie. It comes from listening to some great song with some great beats. It comes from some amazing story. A lot of the times it doesn't come from within us. And because of that reason, it's not necessarily a constant feeling. The truth of the matter is, in order to achieve our goals, we have to stay disciplined. And to stay disciplined, we need some deeper level of motivation, something that's intrinsic, that is constant, that is there all the time, that matters to us more than our feelings, more than the things we're giving up. It will push us to our goals. So how do we get that feeling? I really think there's two major ways, and they're pretty similar. I think they're kind of synonymous, but I'll explain each one as we go along. The first way is to attach a deeper meaning to our goals, almost your purpose or your why. And I think defining your why, the best way I can define it is something you live for, but also something you would die for. So it needs to be something you care about so much that it overcomes every obstacle and every challenge you might face. Recently on Instagram, I posted a picture, and it was just a really simple graphic. On one side of the picture, it said your why, and then it had the greater than symbol, everything else. I intentionally made your why in huge font, and I made everything else in tiny font. So your why is greater than everything else. Your goals can't just be about money. They can't just be about fame. They can't just be about looking cool. It has to be about something you care about at all times, that is always there, that doesn't just stop and come at random times. No, it needs to be something that really matters to you. For me, I would personally say my why comes down to two things, and I don't have a cute sentence to sum it up in a really short manner. But overall, there's two big themes. So the first thing is, I've struggled with mental health, as I've talked about, and I know the feeling of obsessing on negative thoughts, and I know the feeling of anxiety, extreme anxiety, and I don't like it, and I know others don't as well. So that's my why. I don't want others to feel this way, so that's what pushes me to work on this page. And secondly, I get so much joy and fulfillment from from working on this page, that it gets me out of bed in the morning, right? No matter how tired I am, I will work on this page. I think about it and I get out of bed. I will stay up later because I want to work on this page. That matters so much to me. And that leads me into my next point, point number 2. Do it for somebody else. If you want to achieve your goal, do it for somebody else. So that's what I'm trying to do with this page. I don't think about, oh no, it's okay, I can skip working on it today. No, I can't, because it's not about me anymore. It's not about my feelings. It's about helping other people live their best life. So it's selfish of me not to go for it. I can do so much good if I do go for my goal. Why would I not do that? If that's not really a clear example, here is a great one. I recently read an article. I had seen it a long time ago, but I kind of forgot about it, and I remembered it recently for whatever reason. It's a story about a guy named Camargo and his daughter. His daughter needed an organ transplant. I'm pretty sure it's a liver. I'll put the link to the description down below. But his daughter needed a part of a liver because hers was just not working properly for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. And he was a match. But unfortunately, he was too overweight to have the surgery performed. His daughter's life depended on it. This man lost 40 pounds in less than 2 months. That is absolutely insane. One of the quotes from the article had something to do along the lines that his wife was a match as well. He said he wanted to be the one because he felt his kids, he had 2 other kids as well, so he felt his 3 kids needed a mom more than they needed a dad. When I read that, I cried. So because he made his goal about somebody else, it didn't matter how he felt. It didn't matter that he was tired. It didn't matter that he didn't want to go to the gym. He had to because he made it about something else. He made it matter so much more to him that he became relentless. He would not be stopped for whatever reason. And this kept him going to almost do the unthinkable. 40 pounds in 2 months, that is insane. Those are the 2 big things you can do to stay disciplined, to stay motivated. Find meaning in what you're doing and or do it for somebody else. And here's 2 other little things that keep me motivated. They're not as serious, but I think they're helpful. The first thing you can do is just constantly expose yourself to the vision of your goal. What do I mean by that? Remind yourself of your goal constantly. So, for example, my 2 lock screens on my computer are Ion Motive, the logo, and a picture of Hawaii, right? Those are 2 of my huge goals. I want this page to just blow up. I want to help a ton of people. So I remind myself of that constantly. And I also want to live in Hawaii. So I remind myself of that constantly. And because of that, it's always in my mind. I think about it all the time. And secondly, aim for exponential growth. When we're starting to work on a new goal, it might seem really daunting and terrifying at first. It seems so far away and we have no idea how to get there. So aim for exponential growth. Figure out the first step and achieve that. Then figure out the next step. Don't worry about how you're going to get all the way there. Just think about what you should do first and start working on that. It doesn't even have to be right. If you try it and that's not the thing to do, that's okay. You learn from that and then you pivot. You go to the next thing, right? And you keep working your way up. And over time, your successes start to stack on each other, right? It's not a linear growth pattern. It's kind of exponential. You might start really, really slow, but eventually that'll start to pick up pretty dramatically. And you will reach your goals, but you have to do the little things day in and day out. That is really all I got for you today. So to wrap it up, in conclusion, motivation is great, but it's not enough. We need something more if we want to keep going. We need to find meaning. We need to do it for somebody else. We need to create something internal that burns all the time, rather than look for motivation from outside sources. Thank you again for tuning in to today's episode. I'm so happy to be back. Like I said, I'll try to get these episodes out on a more frequent basis, try to get them out every Tuesday. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Please subscribe on YouTube, on podcasts, wherever you're watching or listening to this. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs button. And if you're listening on podcast, please leave a review down at the bottom. Let me know what you're thinking about the show. I'm ashamed to say this, a little bit embarrassed, but I've been posting a lot on TikTok, and I'm actually kind of having a fun time doing it. It's pretty cool making the little videos. So if you haven't checked out my TikTok, Ion Motive, go check it out. Put the link for that in the show notes as well. But until next time, I got nothing else. You know how this is going to end. The same way, but with some different outro music. Let's go. Ion Motive, live a charged life.